Good evening, folksicles. It is 9 o'clock, Sunday night, UK time. Give me phone. Slap that on there. How are you doing? I was getting ready to go on holiday. Oh, you can tell I'm using the webcam lamp. The laptop webcam. It's because the other one's plugged into there, the new one that you got me. Thank you. What you call it? But I haven't set it up yet because I've been running around like a blue horsefly. Right, I've got some comments to set up. Let me just click some buttons. Pop that out. Calm down. Do you know, Mel's been very lazy today. Very, very lazy. Yeah. Mel isn't even out of his pyjamas. And Mel's been out. It's okay. On the estate I live in, there's plenty of people around here who wander in their pyjamas, so I thought, sod it. I'll put a big coat on and no one will know because it's dark. How are we doing, folksicles? Oh, we got a load of people. Am I going to have to do the name thing? James, I signed up as your 500th patron on Thursday. Managed to do it 2 minutes after you said goodnight. Oh, dude, James, well done. Thank you, buddy. Jace is in the house. Evening, Jace. Have you had a care package yet? Got any new builds you're going to do? Yes, I have. Yeah, I start well, first off, next week, Mel's on holiday. No live show on a Thursday. Okay? Yeah, I am back. We'll be back to normal. There'll be another live show. There'll be a Sunday nighter. I've got a video for Tuesday for you. I might have a video for Thursday. It depends on whether I get to finish the editing. We're leaving sort of midday tomorrow, and if I get time to get it up and uploaded and that sort of stuff, I'll get it up for you. If not, you'll probably see it Saturday or Sunday. Mel, Uncle Atom mentioned you today. Did he really? What did Uncle Atom say? Are any of you guys familiar with Prodos games? Yeah, that's Aliens vs Predator, isn't it? I've got my comments on there. I need to put them on this screen, really, because I'm spending too much time looking over there. Won't take a second. Shh. We're live on YouTube. In his dressing gown. It's all right. We're sneaking around. You may wonder why it's quiet in the house today. Quite simply, yeah, we have my grandson upstairs and he's just gone to bed. Yeah, so everyone's sneaking around. Right, let me get these comments up so I can see them properly. Come on. Cool. Shut the door, dude. Thank you. Live streaming. Just let me get these comments up and then. No cares pack. Yeah, you've got one incoming. You did want them all with all the trimmings, didn't you? I couldn't remember what he wanted. Right. Drag that across there. And no, not that one. That's green. That's green. Oh, right. Okay. So, what did Uncle Atom say about me today? I'm just curious now. That event in Nottingham you went to looked great, Mal. Do you have a lot of events there? We get a reasonable amount of events in the UK. Our events are typically one-dayers. Yeah, the Warlord Birthday Bash was a 2-day event. We went up on the Sunday. And, this will mean more to Jace than anyone else. Look at those. Expect blossom trees in the near future. I've got my archers. And Corb's been busy. They're about 50% plastic glues, which is pretty typical for Corb. But there is Samurai. We've been furiously putting them together so we can take them on holiday for us. He just recommended you, man. Oh, Thank you very much, Uncle Atom. I'll message him. He's live now. There you go. Thanks for the shout out, mate. You got to thank people when they give you a shout out, haven't you? Bonsai! No, it's not bonsai. We got this wrong, Jace. We should actually. This is, you see, me and Jason have been screaming bonsai, which is a tree. We should have been screaming banzai. Yeah, but I actually think for the terrain shooter, screaming bonsai is probably more appropriate. Hey, Westy. I don't know if it's my sound, but your microphone sounds a bit like a Geiger counter. Are we getting clicking, are we? Let me know if that's just you or anyone else. Mel, will you ever show us something how to build something like a farmhouse, put in our dioramas? Yes, mate. Atom says, sure, no problem. Yeah? Yes, mate, what do you call it? We got the medieval series coming up, so that should cover that. I get clicking. Right. Can I throw that webcam? I don't know if it's going to recognise the webcam, what do you call it, because the stream's already started. Let me know if that's fixed it. Banzai means 100,000 years. That's a lot of years. Got any more big World War II dioramas being planned? Yes, when I get back, I start the trench system, which is one of the things I've been working on. At the minute, I'm trying to work through a couple of trench-related supporting videos. So we've got trench wall design, yeah, because when I do my big trenches, I'm only going to use one technique, so I need to cover a few of those. We've got trench design, because actually, it's quite a big thing. Come on, lad. Are you going up now? Right, well, cover yourself up. No. Dude, look at the way that's tucked. No. You don't want to be showing the YouTube your danglies.
I'm not, look, this is
no,
tied
don't
well.
show them, don't show them.
This is tied well.
This is it's not the tide, it's the height I'm concerned about. Right. Let me have a look at the mics. Oh, wrong way.
Dad, have you seen the models yet?
Yes, I've shown them off, son. They are nice. Oh, Dad's gonna. Right, let's see if we can throw this mic in and see if it recognises. 11 peoples.
Yeah,
you robbed most of the models, mate.
Yeah, that's because I put my hard-earned time into it.
No, what he did is he got up earlier this morning and thraped the sprues for all the good bits.
I can't find any others.
He's left me with all the kneeling legs. Yeah, half my army's going to be kneeling.
Hey, you'll be like, you know, in the Romans, they had like the shields in like in one big position, so you couldn't get through to them. You'd be like that. You know, like all your men crouched down and like fling their swords over. You wouldn't even hit them.
Mm-hmm.
They have an amazing army.
Right, are we a bit better? I've turned it down a little and I've plugged in a different mic. Yeah, so just let me know on that one. Sorry about that, guys. I thought we'd be all right with that.
We weren't. So, yeah.
Right. Oh, we've had PayPals.
Oh my God, Dad! Do you want to get my computer out again?
No. Just. Whoa. Oh, you've got trousers on. He's actually put trousers on now. You're not risking it on YouTube, are you? Dude, really? Really?
I'm kidding. No, please don't do that. Oh God.
Do you know what that is? That's my Chewbacca impression. Yeah, why are you laughing so much, Corb?
Because whenever you do that, you fart.
Yeah, because it's chewy.
We're saying the sound's fine.
Yeah. Nice
That's
one.
good now.
Did you just congratulate me by tapping me on my back?
Yeah. Don't hurt me.
Don't hurt you.
Even if I do anything, I still have to go look.
I have a question. Is it holidays? We got holidays in Germany. Yes, it's half term, isn't it?
Yeah, I always wanted to visit Germany.
Why?
You know, I just always wanted to go out this country.
Well, we'll take you on a foreign holiday one day, mate.
Actually, aren't I with school in 2019? I'm going on a ski trip, aren't I? School.
We've got to afford it
Hopefully.
first, mate.
Well,
You know what I mean?
hopefully.
Yeah, you know.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, you'll probably go away with army cadets before you go away with school.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I've put you up for active support enlistment, so you could end up in Afghanistan or Iraq.
Seriously?
Yeah, they
That
send.
would be pretty cool.
No, I mean, you won't be in the dangerous bits, but they send you over for 3 months. Yeah, it's like a work placement, and you work on Camp Bastion. Yeah, I mean, obviously, you'd have to be away from home and your tech for 3 months.
I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind.
Yeah, it'd be something cool to do. It'd get me out of the house also.
Do you reckon?
And out of the country.
Right, I need to do...
And out of the EU. And out of everything that I actually know.
Dude, what are you going on about?
I don't know.
Have you got a right, you've got a right bit of like verbal diarrhea. It's just spewing out your mouth tonight. Statements, isn't it?
Going to Nottingham.
Right, let's pull that back and let's give some We've got a couple of stream heroes today, mate.
Dad, be quiet.
We got Harry.
Dad.
1 second, dude. Let me do my job. Yeah, or our Odin. Yeah. And we got Paul. Paul sent 5. Thank you, Paul.
Clicking's back. What does that mean?
Clicking can't be back already, surely. Paul W.
Well, Jason said it, and I trust Jason alive.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's a statement, isn't it?
I know well. He
Right.
gave me a McDonald's.
Really, it's that simple for you, is it?
Yeah, McDonald's is all I need.
Right.
First time I ever tried a McMuffin.
Right, let me know how that is now, guys.
Still trying to get used to the new stuff you're using, Dad.
It's the first time I've plugged a webcam in while we've been streaming, mate. So...
Click is a fix. Does that mean like you can fix it or he has fixed it?
I don't know.
Quiet bassy.
I'm not sure about the bassy. What I can do about that?
Try and turn down the bass. Is there a setting for that? Check settings. I don't think it's that simple, but just check the settings if you can turn down the bass.
There is no bass one. You sound muffled now. Let's try that.
Really, Dad? You can't get us correct, can you? I'll change it to Corbs on latrine duty. No. No, wrong way.
Fingers crossed that should have sorted it. Logitech, microphones.
Just look at the chat. I can't look at the chat there.
Look behind you.
Why?
Oh, you'll have to. Let's give it a minute and let's see if the sound settles down. And if there's still a problem, Jace, let me know. Because I'm getting good, bad.
Yeah, just Jace.
Yeah.
Jace gave this.
Thing is, there's also YouTube lag. Yeah, which means they could be talking about the sound before, whilst they've changed things, which sort of slightly complicates things.
Yeah, I'd say wait like 20 seconds before you start reading the comments on it, just so you know
you're
caught up. Yeah.
Do you reckon 20 seconds?
It's a good idea.
It's really interesting when someone comes along and they don't realise that we're actually half an hour before them and they're watching the stream half an hour earlier. Yeah, because you see random comments because they think they're watching it live.
Oh, that'd be annoying. You find out like your comment does not mean anything. You think
it's quite loud. Let's drop that down a little then. Look behind you. Yeah. Unless it's Willow.
I'm looking in the camera lens right now onto the picture on the screen,
Yeah.
and there's nothing behind
I'm
us.
coming into the market for a heat gun. I want to do some foam sealing and shaping. Any suggestion for a brand or features? No. Just grab a heat gun. Yeah, unfortunately, heat guns aren't really designed for terrain making. Yeah, so just grab a heat gun. Cheap one will do you. No Stream Heroes. Ah, oh, damn. There's the Stream Heroes. You've got Westy saying lots of crackle and hollow sound. The second mic with the best, and then straight after it, Jay saying volume is perfect now.
God damn it, Westside and Jace.
Oh.
Guys, get on a private chat and just decide you're going to say the same thing at once, just so our lives.
Have you knocked over your samurai? Oh, you broke your samurai. What was that?
I don't know. Get them scared of the samurai. I made him.
What was that, mate?
Oh, baby.
Oh, we've had another PayPal. All right.
Oh my God, is it in dollars or is it in Ukraine money or is it in bitcoins? I don't
Thank
know.
you, Jace. You didn't have to. Yeah.
From Jace.
Yes.
Yay, Jace, you don't need to do anything. Come on.
No, you don't.
He paid for part of this beautiful computer down here. He doesn't need to donate at all. He's helped us so much.
There you go. Get Jace on the screen.
You haven't even clicked
it
properly. God. You click the mouse for that.
Did I click the nap?
Dad, you know what I'm going to do? Pull this
mouse. Were you bloody... Oh, I'm typing on the wrong...
Really, Dad? You're typing on the wrong bloody keyboard.
Oh, Jesus wept. You see, it's you. Don't turn my keyboard over, mate.
I've got your mouse away, so you can't do that either.
I did a PayPal. It'll be dropping soon then, Stockley, no doubt. Yeah. In fact, this may be it now. Thank you. If you're Mart, Stockley, then thank you kindly. Right, now I've found the right screen. Thank you, Corbin.
I'm good, aren't I?
Perhaps I should train you.
No, that's the wrong keyboard.
Oh, God.
I keep... Dad, can I move the keyboard over there?
No.
Come on, it'll make it so much easier on you. You're looking like the biggest idiot ever.
Do you want to live to see 30?
No.
You're going the right way, lad. Mel, you definitely need a holiday. I do. I really do.
We're going on one tomorrow.
We are, aren't we?
Wait, how are you going to record videos?
I'm not. I've recorded one. They've got the tense one.
Okay, yeah. That's okay.
And then depending on how far we get with the...
10th video is good. If you can hear me in the background rustling in the studio, it's me. It's me probably eating brownies or anything that he has in the studio. I did eat one of his cakes.
Oh, Corbin. Medieval siege work trenches.
Ooh.
All sorts of trenches, to be truthful. Ooh. Right, let me just clear those.
That was a bit weird, but...
Yeah, that was a bit weird. Have a nice cream and drinks on me for your mates for your travels. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. Love Austin Powers.
Don't you just?
No.
Right. Mark said, thank you for the awesome content you've created and for the future to come. He's Stockley on YouTube. Nice one, buddy.
I'm just staring directly into the camera lens to creep everybody out. Really.
Worth every penny for the CD video alone, bud. Thank you, Paul.
I'm just completely...
Thank you, guys.
I'm just completely staring at the camera, trying not to blink.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's what you're doing?
Because I can.
Oh, I'll tell you while you're staring at that camera, you're elbowing your samurai.
Dad, you might want to pull down the chat on there. Chat's not in time.
It doesn't matter, I'm looking at the chat on there.
Well, why are you doing that?
Because I'm not doing...
Now you're destroying my models! I made these.
Did you almost try and say you painted them?
Yeah.
But you didn't, did you?
No.
Oh, you get off my archers.
They're mine!
No, they're mine.
Then where am I?
Yours are the ones with the what you call it, with the arrows stuck to the floor. Where are your archers?
There. Wait, what?
There they are.
Oh, somebody flipped around like an archer in somewhere else on...
And you wonder why I'm grey. You wonder why I don't know which keyboard to type on.
I'm missing an archer. Have you stolen one of my archers?
I haven't stolen one of your archers. I've got my own archers.
Well, where's one of my
They're all the ones that are kneeling down.
Where's one of my archers?
We've probably put him on there, next to your musket men.
Why is he even a musket man?
Right.
My own life. I have the bowman, okay?
I thought you were Snail Mal. Right, so now we've had the show's just been completely derailed. Yeah, by the microphone, which I'm hoping is resolved now. Yeah, by the Corbin.
And Snurt.
Yeah. Yeah, trenches. I am doing trenches. I am doing a 6-foot trench line. Yeah. And we're doing that pretty much. I'm starting, well, finishing it off. I've already started it, but the video side and it's all prepped. I've just got to glue it all together and that sort of stuff. And I'll be doing that, first week back. So I reckon we should get trench videos for the middle of next month.
No, someone needs done. That was so long.
Now, have you got any specific requests for trenches that you'd like me to cover? My idea is to try and cover as many different techniques as possible. Yeah? A 6-foot trench line in reality or in scale? In reality. I mean, at 28mm, God knows what the scale would be. That's extensive. It is. But that's the joy of trench lines, you know what I mean? When trenches are like, they're a special sort of terrain. Yeah, for gamers. It's sort of a big investment in time and effort. But it's one of the most functional terrain types you can make. I mean, you can make a bunker and that will have an effect for troops in... Go to bed.
Okay.
Just go.
Okay.
Good night, Corbin. Love you.
No,
get out your arse off that chair and go to bed now, lad. Corb, leave the stool. Please, I'm on YouTube, dude. Right, good night, God bless. Can you really believe he came from my balls? Oh, I wonder sometimes. Corb, enough now, mate. Right. Where can I buy a banzai? Yes, we can believe that. Oh, shut up, unpainted lead. Dude, remember I'm a kid. Sorry, Metal. Don't be like Corb. I can believe you dead when Kez see that. Sorry, dude. Evening, Andrew. Yeah, right. Shall we get back to trenches, eh? And terrain. I like terrain and trenches and stuff like that. The specific types of gas lights they would have used for specific times of the day. We'll leave that one. That's far too small detail. That's equipment, not terrain. Enjoy it, Mal. He's going to be a moody teen before you know it. Oh, he goes in some proper strops. But he's getting to that age. Do you know what I mean? More tree tutorials, please. Getting back to the trees after we've done the Battlefield Basics. I want to revisit those. You know Corb's going to go upstairs and log on to the chat. Yes, I do. But at the same time, I also know I can put him in a timeout or block him. Do beach trenches from D-Day? No, I've already done the D-Day board. Yeah. If anything, the trenches are going to have a World War I theme because although trenches were used in World War II by various sides, World War I is the most... When you think trenches, that's what it sort of evokes. What's the longest trench you've ever had on your board for half an hour? Probably 8 foot. But that was 6 foot with 2 1-foot curved endings rather than what you call it, continuous. So they went off the side of the board. They sort of, yeah, they had two end caps that sort of drew the trench line around, if you know what I mean. Have you done any colonial or darkest Africa buildings? No, I haven't, to be truthful. I don't think I ever have. We flirted, the gaming club I was in, we flirted with some Congo rules, years ago. But we just threw any old shite on the table, you know what I mean? World War II was trench warfare, so it makes sense. Well, I mean, World War II wasn't just trench warfare, it's just what it's really... Sorry, World War I wasn't just trench warfare, but it's what it's really known for. But trenches were actually used extensively in World War II. I mean, whenever the battle became static, trenches got dug. I found it interesting, in the defence of Kirk against the Germans, yeah, there were 6 concentric rings of trench lines, running round the city. And the total length of trench works was long enough that it could stretch, if it was put in a straight line, from Moscow to Spain. Yeah, I've seen Death Watch, that's a good one. And The Bunker, that's another one, good one. Maybe some sandbag trenches. Sandbag trenches were, well, it depends on the trench wall. We'll cover that in the trench wall video, you see, because there's lots of different ways of actually doing trench walls. I mean, essentially the simplest trench was just to dig a hole, you know. More complicated trenches were reinforced, some were concrete, a lot were sandbagged, a lot were battened. Yeah, they used corrugated metal, they used wooden planking, they used, thatch with branches weaved into thatch. They used anything they could use to keep the wall up, you know what I mean? So I'm doing a separate video on just the different types of how to model the different types of of trench wall that I can refer to when I do the actual big trench build. Trenches have been used pretty much. Yeah, I didn't know that. Trenches were used by the Maori to defend against the British colonials. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I am reading the comments. Both Token and Lewis were in World War One. They were the members of the same writing club in Birmingham. Token's ours. He's from Staffordshire. Or is it Lewis that's ours? Or are they both ours? I think they're both ours. Yeah, when things got quiet and trenches were not dug out because they were needed. I've always been born out of wedlock. I always reckon, yeah, that when they send someone on your junior leaders course, yeah, they remove your sense of humour as part of the course. Sadly, many nations have the darkest parts of history they would rather forget. Well, we don't tend to write the bad stuff into our own histories and teach it, do we? Australians and the Serbs were the one that did the big lifting to start it. How about a part destroyed trench mall? Yeah, definitely thinking along those lines. That's on the list. I mean, there's documentations of trench lines going all the way back to Roman times and their field works. And also, I mean, it's coming straight up to modern times. There's documents of essentially trench warfare going on in the Ukraine at the moment. Jungle trenches, yeah. Kokoda movie. What's the Kokoda movie, mate? Little Meg, are you going to try and make gun pits? I'm going to try and include as many features as I can on a 28mm table edger system. So quite a lot, but not the stuff that would be in support and not, you know what I mean. I'm not sure if I can get the second line trench. We'll see. And thank you, Jason. If you do like all my videos and you know you like to help me along, yeah, support details are on the screen or down below in the comments. Yeah, not in the comments, the description. Mel's getting old. Roman Punic ditches, dug one of those. I remember going through training. Yeah, basic. And, you know, one of the first things in the field we learned on the very first night was digging a slit trench. I'm going to have to send you more research pics. Bleachron, yeah, when it comes to trenches, you send them away. And if you've got some copyright free ones that you own or you've taken that you don't mind me using in a video, yeah, because I know you do lots of travels for that sort of stuff. Komodo is about the Australian soldiers on the Komodo Trail in Papua New Guinea. Kokoda. Right, just let me always move my bloody mouse on this computer. Someone needs a daddy nap. Someone needs a granddad nap. Right, Kokoda. Kokoda movie. Got it. Did find myself watching The Lost Battalion on Saturday. Brilliant film. Question, what is the smallest model or kit you've ever made? Probably sculpting a beret onto onto the top of Harker's head. Yeah, from the the Imperial Guard with 40k. You know the guy with the Mohican? Yeah, I didn't like him with the Mohican and the bare chest, so I put a t-shirt on him, and I took off the Mohican and sculpted a beret onto his head. Yeah, but as part of the beret, I put like a V-wing for his cap badge. Yeah, which is probably 1.5 millimeters across. Yeah, damn. Left a bit, right a bit, left a bit, right a bit, up, down, down, up, up, up. Mal, if you did a jungle beach trench, you could make palm trees or bamboo logs as supports on both sides and make it very sandy. I certainly could. Tolkien was from Birmingham. Was he? It must be Lewis who's the staff. Are you sure? Because the Shire is based on Staffordshire. Are you sure he wasn't Staffordshire born? King's Heath. That's where he was born. All right then. It must be Lewis we own then. Could you make a trench with no supports, just some logs put up? Yeah, certainly could. I mean, at the end of the day, like I say, you've got to remember, yeah, should we call it the architecture of a trench? You know, the man-made stuff in the trench. Yeah, that was really dependent on time and resources. I mean, a lot of the trenches that were dug were simple holes, yeah, with a bit of an enfilade on. You know what I mean? So they could, you know, firing step. Anti-tank trenches and anti-tank trenches in the state of being breached. Anti-tank trenches are slightly different. They're an anti-tank obstacle. They weren't manned as such. I do know what you mean. They're the large drops, you know, for catching tanks, and not the sort of trenches I'm talking about, to be perfectly honest. But very valid. I wonder how you do it on 20. You'd have to have a raised table to do it on 28mm, wouldn't you? I thought the Shire was made in New Zealand. It was made in New Zealand, but in the book, yeah, the inspiration came from Staffordshire. It's Lewis that was from Staffs.
Was he? Open the door before Jess and Don were even at their car. Yeah, he's had a pee. Yeah, they've walked down the path. He's barged straight past them, straight to their car. They've opened the door, in, gone. See you, Mum.
Ozzy's gone on his holidays to stay with some friends.
Little bugger. Can't
believe he just went.
Of course he went. Look,
No
he's gonna get treated like buggery there, you
He's
know.
sleeping on the sofa tonight.
Oh, of course he is.
Yeah. Jess says, do we need his bed? And Dom says, no, he's on the sofa. As long as he doesn't think he's doing it when he gets back home, that's fine. You tonight.
Tolkien was born in South Africa, spent time in Birmingham, and then recovered from trench fever. I have a 15-minute chat between what Mel. I told Moo, in fact, he won't see it for 15 minutes, so someone in the comments will have to tell him. Can you do Vietnam trenches? No. I could, yeah, but I'm not going to. The trenches are going to be very generic because that's what the Let's Makes are. I am planning on doing Japanese trenches for my big Burma build, which will be a lot more in depth and in detail than the Let's Make one. Yeah, so I'll cover the sort of, shall we say, the Asian trench systems when I do my big Burma build one. Yeah, Kez was just passing through. But I think he was Stafford's Way. Him and Token were in the cup called the Inklings. There you go. The trench battle at the end of Platoon was great. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I've seen The Pacific, mate. It's a good film. Oh, we've had a PayPal. Oh, better check, hadn't I? Right. Log in. Come on. Yeah, okay. Who sent something though? Hey, princess. Robert W. Thank you, buddy. He sent us 5 nuggets. It's all going towards, at the minute, teddy bear fur, which is surprisingly expensive. I'm massacring some teddy bears. Right, let's get... No, wrong computer. Robert W, let's get you on the screen. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for supporting me. It does mean a lot to me. One of the big things in trench development from World War I would need to avoid blasts from artillery shells exploding in the trench from spreading far. Yeah, they did quite a lot of that. I mean, there were culverts. They used the zigzag way as a way of limited damage across a long strip of the trench. I think that was limited to 10-meter sections of the trench. The trenches were sloped in such a way that quite often we think trenches were like that, but in fact they sloped them like that, so there was cover from sort of the shrapnel, shall we call it, from the artillery charges, i.e. the troops could duck under and get cover. What about the bears, Mel? They'll be cold for winter. Oh, pucker off. There we go. Why are all the British toes in or on something? What do you mean, British toes? Can you do Stavlar or Armageddon trenches too? Well, I mean, the techniques I'll show you, you'll be able to apply to any sort of trench. So, I mean, that's what I do. You know, I give you the broad techniques to build the general sort of structure, and then it's down to you guys to sort of pick it up, run with it, customize it. You know, for example, the log bunker. Okay, now technically that should have been like a Japanese log bunker, but yeah, the Finns use log bunkers. Loads of people use log bunkers, from what I can gather. Yeah, so I keep my tutorials rather generic, you know, and I don't sort of say this is a German bunker, or this is a British bunker, or this is a World War I bunker, or a World War II bunker, or a sci-fi bunker. Because the moment I say this is a German bunker, then someone who wants to build a British bunker will say, oh, well, that's not the tutorial I want. Yeah, and so I don't sort of label it. I keep my stuff really generic. My foam board ruin videos are foam board ruin videos. They're not 40k and they're not Stalingrad. Yeah, they're just ruins. Yeah, and it's for that reason. Now, what are you thinking of making for the trench? Whole line, multiple segments in different styles, scales. Now, I'm thinking about sticking with 28mm because that's what we've done with the Let's Make. And I'm thinking about doing a whole line, maybe seeing if we can just about get into, into the sort of support line. It's going to be quite a deep piece. Don't drop those, darling.
Hello. My little smoothie one.
Love you.
Love you. Night.
Good night. Yeah, let me get that door for you. Watch your toes. Go on then. Bugger off. Get off YouTube, you. You're bad as Corbin. Love you. Holiday tomorrow.
I know.
But let's pay it as Rob and Lisa. Oh, thank you guys. She's screaming again. But no, so I see questions and comments. Repeat those in a minute, guys. Just let me get this out. Calm down. Yeah, so I'm thinking I wanted to get the major trents in, the culverts, the fire steps. Yeah, a bit of damaged works. I want to get some some block houses in there. I want to get some dugouts in there. So I'm actually going quite deep with the foam. Yeah, so I can actually go downwards from the trenches further into the dugouts. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. Maybe some fire pits, definitely some communication lines. Yeah, looking at some dummy trenches and maybe a couple of observation points with hidden saps running to them. I think that should be enough with trenches to keep everyone pretty busy with them. I was hoping you could do one for, say, epic. I'd love to. Question, I found Zemtin miniatures. Is that the Kenzai you were talking about, mate? Mel, I have no idea, Stockley. What's a Kenzai? Without a fuss. It would be great to see a field kitchen or first aid centre as part of the support things and some gun pits. Short range mortars and howitzers. It really depends. I mean, one of the problems is those things can be quite challenging detail wise, quite time consuming. What you've got to remember, guys, is I'll only get one patron video support for this. Yeah, so the build can't go on for more than a week or two. Yeah, otherwise I won't have the time to do the other videos to make enough patron videos to be able to survive and live. Yeah, I'd love to spend 2 months doing a really detailed full trench board with starting with no man's land at one end and then the trench work starting roughly halfway down the board and all the different lines with all the different elements. But it's time. You know what I mean? What about Gothic trenches? If you want to stick Gothic things on trenches, they become Gothic trenches. Principles exactly stay the same. It's just about how you dress it. Where can I get sea foam the cheapest? Worldwide Scenics are selling it. There's a couple of other companies that sell it, mate. New York. Drag trenches? What are drag trenches? I haven't heard that one, Tanya. It's going well, Joey? So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's quite an involved piece, but it's got to be realistic. You know what I mean? I.e., it's got to be achievable in 2 weeks from... I mean, I've already spent 3 days on it. Yeah, cutting various bits, working various plans out and that sort of stuff. It's all expensive. I need money for plastic crack. Oh, dude. It's how you dress them. Oh, drag trenches. Really, Tanya? Really? Regarding those tents, I was in a fabric shop the other day and they had a nice little thin fabric. Oh, did they really? I like tents. The other day I stumbled upon your log bunker video for a diorama for a friend's birthday and the tutorial was top notch. It turned out great. Thanks so much from Alberta. That's what I'm here for, buddy. A nice one, making him a terrain for his birthday. Kudos. You can come to the chat again, mate. I made a disaster today, bought some foam from Wix, took it outside to bring home, and the bloody wind took it. Now it's home in millions of pieces. Build boulders. Hi, Keely. We should all make birthday terrain for people we like. Yeah, you should treat people you like. And terrain's a wonderful way of treating them. Oh, Mel's on one tonight, isn't he? It's because my brain's been turned to jelly by the sheer amount of children around. All right, Michael. I brought some phone call once and I danced around like a madman to avoid the wind breaking it. Don't forget there's a new series of Robot Wars. Ooh. It is sad what us Yanks have done to the Queen's English. You said it. Then again, to be perfectly honest, yeah, it's quite sad what us Brits have done to the Queen's English. I mean, in some places it's not the Queen's English or anything close. You remember that Halloween terrain you promised? I do. I have. But it's not Halloween yet, is it? Oh, Stockley. Sorry, Mel. Confused. The miniatures you showed us earlier. Where are they from? I'm interested. They're the models that come in Test of Honor, mate. New game from Futsal Miniatures, available via Warlord Games. The models are War Games Factory. Yeah, they're quite nice, to be truthful. I like them. A little fiddly to put together. You right, babe? Another bundle. Just wanted to remember. I remember. Don't worry. You'll get your what you call it. You'll get your Halloween special. It would be okay if the Queen was actually English, but that's another story. Are they the Brandenburgs? What is it? What's their actual surname? What is it? Gothenburg, Brandenburg, something like that. One thing I hate about the Americanism of English is dropping the letter U from many words such as armour, honour, polar, colour. Mel, English has never been King's or Queen's English. Vicky was the first to use it as the first language. Learn something new. No, it won't, Kim. Gax Coburg Goth. Saxe Coburg Goth. Is that what it is? Brandenburg is next to Berlin. Been there. There you are. Your Queen is German, Danish, and Dutch. Oh, 1 second, folks. Bit of family admin. So I'm just it's gonna take me literally no longer than like 60 seconds, but I just need to have a chat with Kez and turn the cam off. Sorry, folks. Running round in just a pants. Would you believe it? Can't put that on YouTube. Cares cracking the whip. Do you know what it's like to be told off as a married man by your wife in your pants? It doesn't really work. Trust me, it just doesn't work. Because you just sit there grinning. I've been married to her for 18 years and she stands wearing her pants and I still turn out to be just a little boy. So what trouble can we get up with the camera off? Calm down, Tanya. None, we have a Jace. Yes, we have a Jace. I'm regretting leaving all my tools and paints to my girlfriend's place. I have that same problem with the studio. Do you know what it's like to get home? It's like, it's at the studio. Yeah? I'm slowly, I'm balancing my model paints between the studio, yeah, and home. Oh, Odin. Victoria's children's surnames was adopted as Saxcott. All right, okay. What if we get to the pantless part with the camera on? You won't. There's no way of that. Kerry has only ever appeared on YouTube, yeah, in a pants and bra once. It was the 24-hour build-a-thon that we did for Help for Heroes. And I think it was about 5 o'clock in the morning and she didn't realise I was still streaming. Yeah, I've been awake for God knows how many hours, but she came down to say, what are you still doing up? Yeah, that video, I don't even know if that video's on YouTube or not. But I'm going to see a spike in the 24-hour, what do you call it, build one as everyone goes looking for it. Shouting shame. No, to be truthful, there's only one time, yeah, where I've done the bell ringing and shouted shame with Kerry. Yeah, and that's when she got a 2-1 for one of her assignments. Oh no, not her, you. What should I? No, you're not going to see me prancing around. You haven't seen me prancing around in my pants, have you? I know I've done lots of things, silly things on YouTube in the past. I have worn a bra on my head, but that was to get money off Mike at Terrainiacs. That sounds so dodgy. Okay. What happened was, it was during the 24-hour live build, yeah, and I was saying, if we hit a certain amount, I'll put a bra on my head. Yeah, and Mike said, if you put a bra on your head, I'll double the amount I've just pledged. So I picked the bra up and put it on my head and made him double it immediately. We were raising money for Help for Heroes after all. Wasn't that the one I'll never let you forget for getting a bit methy? Methy? I know there's been times when I've been under the influence when I've done these live streams. There's been a couple of times when, because of my back, I've done them on diazepam or Valium as it is. Yeah, and Mel's been very smiley. AKA, half a SpongeBob onesie rubbing a rock on polystyrene at 2 AM. God, do you remember that? It was so hot in here. I was in a SpongeBob onesie, yeah? And I'm literally stripped down to the waist and it tied around my waist. And the sweat is pouring off me as I'm trying to get a rock texture onto these rocks by gouging this rock with this piece of polystyrene with a bit of rock. How can you make sandbags the best way? There's a few ways, okay, but I recommend go and have a look at my, Urban Techniques playlist. That's what I'm calling the foam board ruin playlist now, the Urban Techniques playlist. Very clever, brilliant thinking. Because now I have the Foliage Techniques playlist, I have the Water Techniques playlist, the Hills and Rocks Techniques playlist, and the Urban Techniques playlist, and everything sort of fits in. Dances for money, wears ladies' clothes for money. On the internet. Mel's a cam girl. Westy's just spit his his tea out there. Bras on your head doesn't work as well as usual aluminium foil. I know. And the foil, you can get the foil to fit far nicer. A genuinely great stream. Serious dedication on show. Really, mate? Getting high off glue and paint fumes is part of the job, isn't it? There's been a few times when I've had polystyrene highs. You know, and I've been working on a long job, and you walk out and you're like, whoa, fuzzy lines. You need some fresh air, Bosicle. Wood entrenchments also cover simple ditches and canals. The word entrenchment technically would, okay, because it's a trench. A trench is technically, you know, a long dugout line in the sand. I don't think the term trench works would apply to ditches and canals, because ditches and canals are irrigation and water, whereas trench works comes from field works, which is, as I understand it, a specifically military term. You know, the idea that you have trench works and breastworks. The idea being breastworks are heaps of earth built up to a man's breast, yeah, as a defensive position on hard ground or low ground, and trench works are essentially a hole dug into the ground, you know, ideally, or at least up to a man's breast, to, you know, as a defensive, yeah. The technique would be the same for creating the cut. Westy, you are not signing me up for some dodgy, one of your dodgy campsites. Do they make good money? I'd have thought that a wargame useful trench would be too deep tall unless you're going for something like a Dutch with the embankments. I'm thinking fire step, mate, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, fire stepping in, right, so people understand, yeah, fire step is typically you wanted a trench to be between 6 and 8 foot deep, i.e. so you could stand in it and not get your head shot off. Okay, but obviously, you know, shooting over a 6 or 8 foot trench gets a little bit difficult. Now, they did come up with a few interesting ways of doing it, including rifles that could, with like periscopes and all this sort of stuff, but the main way was they had a step called a fire step, and basically what you did is you stepped onto the step and you were high enough just to shoot over the top of the fence, over the top of the trenches. So you could use that when you're being assaulted, quite often in the morning, in the evening when you were stood to, because they were the common times for attack. Yeah, you know, you would stand to on the fire step, but at the same time, to make it relevant, I also want to include a few blockhouses or pillar boxes, yeah, which would also, you know, enable troops inside to shoot. I don't want the trench to be purely a defensive structure against artillery. I want there to be interaction. I want there to be seizing trenches, and also on the terrain itself, I want to design the terrain so there's a few key elements that you could seize. So it isn't just a matter of, right, we need to get into the trench lines. I want to give players the opportunity to decide, well, shall we go for that and take down that heavy pillar box, or do we go that way? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go into it too deep because that's giving all everything out. Well, it's the cat out of the bag, that's it. Let the cat out of the bag. I don't want to go into it too deep, but I do want this to have lots of interesting stuff. I mean, I am thinking about adding dummy trenches to it. Yeah, Bleachron, there is an issue with the discs. Yeah. With regards to basing, when it comes to trenches, obviously, you know, our models have bases. Now in trenches, you would have had guys packed up right close. It's one of those things where you just have to compromise. Are you planning on building listening posts to the trenches? OPs, forward OPs. What I'm thinking about doing is giving a nominal note to them by having possibly what you call it, sort of entrances to either covered saps or tunnels leading forward to a possible OP that I could build as a piece of scatter terrain. Yeah, so I can place it far enough in front of the trench lines without actually having to build the base of, you know, the actual base of the terrain too far forward to accommodate a forward OP. I think that the dummy trenches I'll be able to get just at the starting line of the slope and they'll work, but I think an OP needs to be a bit more forward than that. Games are much more fun with multiple objectives. Completely agree, Bill. Trenches with real mud are also known as puddles. Yeah. How would you create fire steps in the trenches when they're made basing figures with multiple figures on a base like Flames of War? Very difficult with that. With Flames of War, you just have to accept the symbolism. Yeah, and just say these guys are in a fire trench, you know, these guys are in a fire trench, or these guys are in a trench. I don't think you can do a fire step, yeah, with a Flames of War base. Jousting one's coming. Surreal's doing his wish list. What do you mean by dummy trenches? Not sure what they are. Dummy trenches were trenches built in advance of the main trench line. The idea being that you could disguise your trench line and camouflage it and then build dummy trenches. The enemy would come and attack, and they would attack the dummy trenches, which basically, one, put them slap bang in your kill zone. Two, put them exactly on the map where your artillery knew where to bring fire down on. And three, there's a bit of a psychological aspect to dummy trenches. You build the courage to go over the top, fight through no man's land, and you end up in the dummy trench. Okay? You've then got to build up a lot of courage to get back out of that trench again and attack across no man's land again. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, the Japanese use some interesting trench designs. Yeah. Some of their slit trenches and their log trenches are quite interesting, but I'm saving that for the Burma build, where I can go in more detail. You know, Mel doesn't at least dance for money unless we get up to up to 3 figures. And we're nowhere near that tonight, so Mel ain't dancing for money tonight. Mel's booty is safe. Question, any plans for medieval earthworks or siege terrain? Advice on getting the wicker effect for barricades, mantlets. The wicker effect for barricades, mantlets, you want to go and have a look in garden centres and have a look at their weaved matting, mate. Yeah, and then just cut it out by the square. Yes, when we get to the medieval side, I don't know about siege engines, because that's not technically terrain. I might give it a go and have a play, but they're not my area. But we have got a whole host of medieval stuff coming in the medieval playlist. Now, to be clear, the trench videos I'm going to be filming and building next month, okay, are basically cap off the end of the Battlefield Basics Let's Make series. So that's done. So we'll be moving on to the medieval then and continuing with the countryside and modern urban stuff, dipping into it. Met Westy has a special site. I bet he does. Yeah, there's got to be a great board game management sim about trench. There's got to be something about trench warfare. Thank you, JC. Did you have booby trap trenches? Yeah, they booby trap trenches and that sort of stuff. Quite often trenches were designed to be to be hard to attack from the front, but not from the back, so that if they were taken, it'd be easier for them to be retaken. And then you've got all the things like the saps, the communication trenches, the dugouts. Any advice on making good leaves on trees? Seafoam, what you call it? Luke APS was showing off the trees from from Wheelwright Scenics, and they got seafoam on them. Yeah, and that's nice. Crushed, is it cat? Was it our cat who was doing crushed eggshell? Looks brilliant. You can go for birch seeds, but they're quite big in scale wise. Yeah. After that, go and have a look at my realistic tree series, but that's mainly phlox and that sort of stuff. I like that idea, Bleachron. Tower defense game, but with trench management. Trebuchet is just a huge terrain piece of wood and it flings rocks. No, a trebuchet is not terrain. Terrain is the ground. You may be able to call a trebuchet scenery, because scenery is what sits on the ground. So we would say the terrain is heavy going, i.e. the ground is heavy going. Or we may say, let's look at that beautiful scenery, which is all the stuff we can see on top of the ground. Yeah, but if it has wheels, then I don't think it's even scenery. Jez, no one's got time for cocktail sticks with wire woven through. That's some serious dedication to getting your wicker fences, dude. A question, what do you mean by saps? Okay, a sap was a, a communication line. Yeah, communication trench between common trenches. But the saps were often considered to be the ones that went out into no man's land. Okay, so if you had your formal first trench line, your fighting trench, yeah, the trenches that went further back, yeah, for guys to get further back were called communication trenches. The trenches that we used to sneak forward, yeah, to go out and lay barbed wire, to go out and and run observation posts, to go out and cut communication wires of the enemy and all that sort of stuff. They were all they were all called saps. A sap is a tunnel. Is that the difference? Is a sap Tamsin, is a sap specifically a tunnel? Which makes sense because the saps were the ones going forward, and I was sort of slightly confused, thinking, well, surely you wouldn't have an open ditch for a forward trench going from the main Trebuchets are cool. I've always wanted to make one, as in a proper one. Me and Corbin have made some small ones, you know, about 2 foot high, and they fire great. Trebuchets do not have wheels. Oh yes, they do. Technically, you need wheels for a trebuchet to work properly. See Blackadder. Do like Blackadder. Ah, as in sappers. Right. Tamsin, originally a sap was the tunnel under a castle city wall, but they built fires under. Yeah. So we're talking about tunnel warfare. The going has been described as choppy. Is the phrase poor saps related? I would imagine it is, because the saps was not a nice job. Do you know what I mean? I mean, have you seen the film Under Hill 60? Damn. Yeah. I mean, when they let off the explosions for Under Hill 60, yeah. Where was it? It was in Belgium, wasn't it? Was it in Belgium? Yeah, I think it was in Belgium, just below the German border. And they heard the explosion in London. I mean, I've been around some big bangs in my time, yeah. But the idea of something going off in Belgium and hearing it in London is crazy. What size are the bottles you have your brown paint in? Oh, you mean the squirty bottles? I think they're 250 millilitres. And a razor across a car park, Mel. Nice one, Kim. Yeah, Tunnel Warfare is done in the World War I film Beneath Hill 60. Brilliant film. really confused because it was Aussies. I had no idea that so many nations fought on the Allied side in World War One. One thing that the trench line needs is a humongous crater after successful tunnelling and mining. It'd be nice, but I can't represent that at 28mm. I'd have to go to 6mm for something like that. When was this? World War One, mate. 1914 to 1918. Come on, Diggy, I'm going to make a loud bang in the toilet now. Dude, more information than I needed. There's some cracking World War One films. Oh, Bill, if you're after a recommendation for World War One films, I highly recommend, I highly recommend The Lost Battalion. Yeah, it's about an American unit, an American division raised an American battalion raised from New York that goes forward in one of the big pushes and then gets and then its flanking forces fall back and it gets isolated on the top of a hill and they dig in, and it is brilliant. Could you make a terrain for underground tunnel scatter terrain? That would be cool. The two are kind of challenging. You either have to do the symbolic maze type tunnels systems where it's like you slice the top off the ground and you're looking down the top from the tunnel walls, or you can do symbolic entrances into tunnels and you can represent your tunnels on a separate table like that. It is possible to do, but it can be challenging. Biggles, great World War One movie. There's a museum in Leper for Hill 60. I'd like to see that. Ain't things like the trench where they kept their dead waiting to be buried. It was brutal. Well, as I've done the research and I've been learning more and more, because I mean, I know from a modelling point of view, I know how to model a trench. Yeah, but it becomes with trenches being so important and so iconic. I didn't want it to be one of my D-Day beach defences situations or coconuts on my palm tree situations. So I've put about a day and a half into researching them, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but if you think that's probably about 16 hours for me. You know, I've learned so much about trench warfare. It's a shame Mel's aiming at the earlier end of medieval. Not going to get cannon emplacements for that. Well, I mean, that's Civil War, isn't it? English Civil War. Yeah, I think we could probably creep that way a little. See you later, Martin. Right, what are we on? Oh, did you hear that bang? If he wakes up, if he wakes up my little grandson, I'm going to break Corbin's legs. Not literally, obviously. Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. Are you going to have a word? Mm-hmm. Okay. Hey, Gary. How's it going? It is going well. Family holidays, I can stay up longer and watch your streams for longer. Lucky for you, we're only going for another 10 minutes, dude. Nice one, Nancy. Mel Cannon for Siege is early 300s. I'm really struggling with the medieval playlist because it's not going to be just medieval. We are going to dip into you know, the earlier ages and slightly dip out of it into the later ages. So trying to title it, I'm really struggling. If anyone's got any suggestions for that, I mean, what do we call it? A European historic? Something like that? I don't want to give the idea. I mean, with the Battlefield Basics, that's pretty clear. You know what that's about. With the Countryside Scenics, that's pretty clear about what that's about. Even the Modern Urban is pretty clear. Yeah, but this medieval one, I'm struggling with finding a decent phrase. Sorted, babe. Where are you off on your holidays? Well, turns out we are not going to a Pontins in Poole. We're going to a
haven in Tenby.
We're going to a haven in Tenby. See, I'm just not in the loop. Ancient to Renaissance. Yeah, but pre-industrial. European historic is okay, but pre-industrial works really well because it literally is everything up to the Industrial Revolution. Has the ceiling come through, Mel? Not yet. Ewan saying medieval. Now, Ewan knows his history and that sort of stuff. Pre-industrial is a good one. Going to a Hayden tent? A Haven, I think it's a Haven static caravan. Pre-ketchup. Yeah, pre-industrial. And we like pre-industrial. Right, catch you later, 28. Thanks for the phone, bud. Medieval. God. Ewan. Haven will rope you into their activities and you'll end up making terrain for them. Only if they get an invoice. You could call your series Feudal Battlefield. Feudal? Thing is, it's before the feudal system, isn't it? Because, I mean, we could go even earlier and we could go into, like, the Saga territory and even before that. I am really thinking what you call it, pre-industrial works. Thanks for that, guys. Tunnel blown up trenches would be great. Yeah, agreed. Ignore all the mess about Dark Age, not a thing, and the Renaissance, highly variable and debatable. Cheers, Bleedtron. Could you do a video on medieval siege defences attacks? What do you mean, Gary? The equipment, that sort of stuff. Medieval covers post-Roman to Renaissance, Age of Swords. So do we do that and then we have an early history one? Do you know what I mean? What's the terrainiacs showcase on? What's the terrainiacs showcase on the Facebook group page? The terrainiacs showcase is a vid I do every month where basically I showcase your work, guys. Yeah, if you have a look through my uploads and just scroll through, you'll see them. Okay, every month. Yeah, it's I think it's about 4 or 5 videos back, or 6 or 7, but you'll see it, and it's just I showcase photos of your videos, mate. We will end up with medieval Mel. He'll be sat here in armour. Pre-industrial covers you right up till the start of the Napoleonic era, so that's a good title. I like that because at the same time, what I don't want to do is have lots of little series, you know, like Stone Age, Iron Age, you know what I mean? I'd rather have pre-industrial and anything that fits into that, throw it in there. Bronze through to iron. Yeah. Do you have a second channel, or is this it? This is my only channel, mate. I have enough problems running this channel. Although I did start to think about whether I should do my live shows on a different channel. Yeah, so they don't clutter up the feed. You know, so the guys who are interested in the live shows can subscribe to just the live channel. We'll have to... Oh, pardon me. We'll have to have a chat about that. Dark Age sounds better than early medieval, though, doesn't it? Or migration period. Lacks poetry. Roman urban tutorials.
Pre-industrial gives you a lot of leeway. I think pre-industrial is the way we're going to go. The pre-industrial series. I mean, I think what we might have to say is we might have to say European pre-industrial. Because you could have pre-industrial. I mean, there were pre-industrial societies in the in the East. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that were quite developed. And so what I don't want people saying, well, what about the Japanese? What about the early Indians? What about the Mongols? You know, right, let's keep this in context. Will we fit fantasy into pre-industrial? I think I think 80% yes. Yeah, as generic historic buildings. And then I think what we need is I think we need a fantasy magic series for your things like your portals and all the weird stuff. Keep it all in one place, Mel. I agree. European pre-industrial Fantasia. God. British pre-industrial, but damn your eyes. What about a castle? A castle is coming, but that's a bigger project. And to be truthful, I'm not going to be able to attempt the big castle build until I get to a certain number of patrons. Yeah, that enable me only to do a few videos a month and still live and feed my family. You know what I mean? At the minute, I have to aim for about 5 or 6 videos a month, bare minimum. Yeah, I think this month I'm looking about 4 or 5. Yeah, which is a bit tight, but you know, it's the way it's rolled. You know, I lost a week at the start of the month because, you know, I had a new computer and I have a lot of personal development. I'm losing a week at the end of the month because I'm on holiday, so you know what I mean. But because of the amount of time that I'll go into the big castle build, yeah, I've already got a name for it, it seems. I need to be able to do a lot less videos and still make enough to get by, you know what I mean? Keep the live shows together with this channel, Mal. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but the castle build will be a patron exclusive. Well, 90% patron exclusive. There'll be shorter updates on the main channel with the real in-depth stuff and the longer videos exclusive to patrons until the build is complete. And then the default rule is, you know, everything I do is for everyone. Yeah, will apply, and all the videos will be released to, you know, everyone for free. Basically, I want to give the patrons something, a reward specifically for them while the project's developing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm in this for everyone, you know, to help everyone with builds, not just the people who financially support me. I appreciate the support, but I got into this to help everyone, whether they support me or not. So that's the sort of compromise that I sort of came to. And that way, yeah, the patrons and the people who support me can jump on and see the build as it goes in a lot more detail. Yeah, the people who don't, they'll get little updates, but when it's done, there'll be a massive load of videos that come out for them lot. And more than likely, I'll probably go on and tackle something else big after that. So the patrons will have another big project that's theirs until it's completed. But anyway, that's the idea with the castle build. We'll talk about that probably next month, properly. Will you give the PayPal crowd access to? Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can share that and that information. That's doable. But fundamentally, it's more about Patreon than PayPal. It's not a matter of I need to raise this month to do this month. Yeah, PayPal's great at that for like raising funds for equipment and stuff like that, because you keep going till you've got it, a bit like the computer and all that sort of stuff. With Patreon is a good way of knowing stability, of knowing if right, I need to do X amount of videos and I am 99% sure I will have roughly this amount and the bills will get paid, we'll have food in the cupboards, my rent at the studio will get paid, and things will continue. I mean, you've got to remember, guys, I mean, and this isn't one of those beggy things or anything like that, but I only went properly full-time with the terrain tutor in March, okay? And I'm still at the it's pretty tight every month. Some months are a little bit better, some months are a little bit poor. So I can't commit to big projects without having that support net of having more patrons. And so I'm just holding it back until I've got that. Tanya, I hear what you're saying about share with everyone, but to be realistic and be commercial about it, yeah, having an incentive for people to actually sign up. I realise, you know, there's a lot of you who don't, just are quite happy to support me, you know, but I'm trying to reach out and encourage more people to support me. And if I've got something to offer them for that support, yeah, I can increase the amount of sign-ups I get, yeah, which means I can do more, you know what I mean, and I'm a bit more stable, yeah. So it's a bit commercial of me, yeah, but the idea is hopefully I should be better off, I should be more stable, I should have more resources and more time to work on projects because I'm producing slightly lesser videos, but the videos I'm producing are to a much higher quality because I can spend more time on them. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the Let's Makes videos are relatively simple, because I have 3 days maximum to produce a Let's Make video, yeah, or I'm losing money. I mean, the acrylic corking terrain labs, yeah, they take about a week's work to put together, yeah, so they're actually big losses, so I have to do a few shorter Let's Makes to sort of balance the time. Well, that's fair enough. That makes a twisted sort of sense. It does. You need a few patrons who spend £100 a month, Mel. No, Kim, I don't. Yeah, don't get. I know that sounds wrong to say. Yeah, I could do with a few patrons that give me £100 a month. But the problem is, yeah, that's great while they're giving you £100 a month and you become reliant on that £100 a month. Yeah. Now, if a patron decides, you know what, things have changed, I don't have enough money, or I'm not really watching Mel anymore, I would like to support someone else, and they drop off and their dollar disappears, I might notice it. I might actually not, because someone else might sign up in the meantime. Yeah. You get to the end of the month and one of the two of those £100 patrons decide that they've quit. Yeah, you notice that and you're short, and all of a sudden what you thought you had, remembering I'm just about making it at the minute, suddenly disappears. So I actually prefer for my patrons the $1 patrons over the $100 patrons. I'd just like 100 of them. Do you know what I mean? Because it's that stability that if they drop off, there is not a massive change in how much financial support I have, because patron is very much my wages, and you know, it's food for the kids, it's roof over their head. You and I haven't done the 10 to Let's Make yet. That's out on Tuesday. That was the technical tutorial, the substructure. Not to mention 12 tubes of cork, it ain't free. Well, yeah. You know, that's it. You know what I mean? But anyway, this wasn't the conversation I wanted to have, guys, you know, because you guys are awesome anyway. You guys always are. Right. Mel is cross-legged and in need of a wee-wee. Yeah? So, 27 tents left. No, there's 2 more tent designs left. But I won't be doing those for a little while yet. And one of them is a medieval bell jousting tent. You asked, I will cover. Yeah? But anyway, yeah? Is it ever the conversation Mel meant to have? No, never is it? Right, one quick check to see if we no more PayPal, so I'm not missing anyone. I missed someone last week. Right, Mel's going on holiday. Well, Mel's going for a week, then Mel's going on holiday, guys. Yeah, you will have a video on Tuesday, and I will see you again on Sunday. Yeah, and maybe a video on Saturday, depending on what there is to do when I get back. Yeah, but Mel needs to go to the toilet now, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Listen, guys, thanks for keeping me company, and thanks for making Sundays awesome as always. And thanks for supporting the show, guys. It is appreciated. In the meantime, I'll catch you soon, yeah? All the best. Ta-ra.